Welcome back. We are so excited to have Judy and Linda back from Evolve Me Work. They're amazing women. They're reinvention specialists, so that's kind of a word I love and kind of in my wheelhouse. So today we are talking about FOSO, fear of standing out.
Did you know about that? What? I didn't hear.
You know, that thing I've been telling you about. It's been a game changer for me. So I wanted to start today by sharing a story, and I think it will resonate with a lot of viewers, and that is when you think of yourself when you were 10, and you go back to that fearless exhilaration, and you go to the pool, and you go off the diving board, the high dive, of course, because you're not going to go to the low dive. You're going to jump off. There's no fear. You make a huge splash, and when you come up, it's like, who's watching? Like, did you just see what I just did? I was a rock star. I'm going to do it again. So you do it again and again and again. And then let's transport ourselves to where we are now in our journeys. And what happens? We have this total fear of standing out, right? We might still have that fearless exhilaration of our 10-year-old, but we get stuck. We look at that ladder of the high dive and we're like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not even going near that. And then you think you get up to the top and you're like, oh, I'm going to put it off, right? Didn't we talk about that in one of the episodes? Procrastination? Or, oh, wait, I'll do it next year because I'll be 10 pounds slimmer and I'll be perfect, right?
Yeah.
And we don't do that anymore. So this whole fear of standing out, how can we get past that? And you have a whole theory around it, and you work with your clients to get them to stand out with confidence. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so we came up with that term. I remember when Judy called me and she said, I know what it is. It's FOSO. It's
Love
not
it.
FOMO.
Love it.
And we see that with so many women that we work with, that I think a lot of it is embedded in, that self-doubt and fear and imposter syndrome and all of those things that we don't want to be.
Kick to the curb.
Yeah, we don't want to be found. We're so worried that somebody's going to find out that we're not really all that, right? And like you said, when you're younger, you want everybody to look at you, and then when you're older, some of that self-doubt starts creeping in. And so what we want is for women to be successful, they need to put their awesomeness out there and not be so afraid to see how wonderful they are.
You got to say that
right?
again. Say it again.
They need
Preach
to
it, girl.
not be afraid to put all their awesomeness out there and get out there and stand out, because nobody can find you in your house.
Right. And we're the keeper of our stories, right?
Yeah, we own our stories. Nobody else owns it. No, former employer, no title or role that you have now. You own your own story, and only you can tell it. So stop, we want everybody to, stop playing small, whatever that means for you, because that's what leads to feeling stuck, feeling unhappy, feeling unfulfilled, feeling unsatisfied, all the reasons that women come to work with us. So,
but it doesn't mean we don't have to feel some of those things, right?
No.
So for viewers, we all feel those things. At times we feel small.
Yeah.
Right? But how do we get past that feeling of small? I think mentorship.
Yes.
Mentorship and sharing, right?
Yes.
There you go.
It all happens because we are vulnerable with other women who are facing the same challenges, and that's how we get past those fears and those feelings, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we get the power to really take control of our own story and to start owning our own story, and to think that we can dive off that highest that diving board again, and that it's going to be exhilarating again, because we can feel that way at any age and stage, right?
Yes.
That's not just for our 10-year-old self.
Exactly.
But sometimes we have to go back there.
Yeah.
And we have to think about, what did I love to do as a child?
What did I love to do? Creating your highlight reel of examples of what you did that brought you joy.
That lit you up.
That made you feel brave and courageous and safe.
Right. And when we go back there together, it's really empowering. It's really energizing. Women tell us it's transformative for them. It's hopeful.
Yeah. And sometimes you just need to know that there are other women out there that are also feeling the same way you do. And it takes some of the shame and the guilt and the, isolation out of it.
Absolutely.
So I know that, when I was, for instance, when I was, I remember when I went to my second business school reunion, I tell this story every, because I just feel like it's so, it's such a good example of what's out there, right? So there are all these successful people in a room,
Right.
and the men, and this is not an anti-men. We married men. We
love
like men, right?
We love men.
But the guys were all like sharing what what they've been doing since the last reunion, and
Right.
patting each other on the back,
Standing
and
up
this
nice
is
and tall.
great.
Yeah.
And every woman I talked to, including me, and definitely including me, and including my roommate, each one of us, we were sharing with each other what we had been doing, but there was a difference because we were all explaining and
There you go.
defending
There you go.
and apologizing. So
No,
I was
not
trying
that.
to
We don't like
explain.
that
So
word.
I came there sure that I was the only one that had taken a career
Right.
break and wasted this great education, and I wasn't working, and why was this okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
explaining that. My roommate, her husband was staying at home with the kids, and she was working because she had a big job at Bain. Then there was, other women that were explaining why
Right.
they had put their family and getting married on hold because they'd embraced their career, but then they felt like they had to explain that.
Well,
and
I bet
nobody
people
was
listening,
Nobody
that
was
resonates.
owning
Yeah.
their story and saying, you
Yeah.
know what,
Yeah.
I made these decisions because they were right for me at the time. And you know what? And that's
it's okay.
okay.
evolve.
There's no guilt. It's evolve me.
There's
right
no
there,
guilt.
you know?
And at any stage
Yeah.
or age, you can just take your next chapter.
Yeah.
And all that stuff that you were doing up until then, you were learning and developing along the way, whether you were
Absolutely.
being
Yeah.
paid
all
for it or
translatable.
not.
All translatable.
Yeah, we
and
like to call
transferable.
them transferable skills, exactly.
Yes.
Portable skills. Like,
Yes.
what have you been doing all along the way, whether it's paid work, volunteer work, that you can take and apply and parlay into new opportunities.
That's what you do.
And
That's
that's what
what
we
you
do.
do.
We help women
Exactly.
look at their past, look at what they're doing now, and how do you connect those dots and create a path for the future.
And operating from a position of power.
Exactly.
Which you create that safe haven at Evolve Me, which is what you do. The Reinvention Collective. All of that. Well, and it's all, through the past episodes we've done with you. And it's always there for you to look at and find and connect with these women who are going to help you on your journey. We talked about mentorship and the power of having somebody kind of being your accountability partner. But let's talk about network.
Yeah.
Because I think that is a huge buzzword. I know when I've done talks, you have a group of women in the room and you say, okay, write down your network. And you know what, Linda, you might be like, okay, you've got 30 people.
Now,
Okay? Well, and Judy may be like, that would be my sister, my neighbor. No, not really. And that creates, it's not a safe space for women when you do it in a group like that, but everybody has a network. How do you work with women to really help them create their network?
Yeah, that's we love the topic of networking. We'd love to figure out a new word for networking because so many
Love
women
it.
hear the word networking and they, no, that
We
I'm
don't
not
have
good
one.
at it.
It's a business term.
We don't have one.
Yeah.
It's
They
a
don't have
business
one.
term.
Or it's
I'm not good
slimy.
at it.
Oh.
It's slimy, yeah. It's
Really?
or it's just
That's a
like
new one.
not fun.
Yeah.
They think about it as exchanging business cards with the rubber chicken dinners, that kind of thing. And
Remember
it's
Excuse me, I'm
those?
such and such. Here you go.
Remember
Take my
those?
card.
Right.
Sign up for my course.
When we used to be in person, right?
Yeah.
We will, or we are again. And so they really, so many women have this notion of it is like, I don't want to do it. It's not my thing.
Right.
And you know what? Networking is really about relationship building.
Yes.
And women,
We're rock stars.
to
That's
generalize around that,
We're rock star
we are
relationship people.
awesome communicators,
Yeah.
relationship builders. You all have what it takes to get out there and start making connections. And the process that we take women through and the Reinvention Collective is all about starting, we think about our network as like the onion, right? So starting with your innermost circle
Love
and
it.
thinking about your neighbors, your, family members, your closest friends,
Right.
and then going out the next rung. Okay, so who do these people associate with? And
Right.
then the next rung. Okay, and so who are their, contacts? And all this can be,
Peeling
done
back
on
the onion. And there can be
LinkedIn.
some tears. Believe me, when you build your network, there could be
There
some
can be
tears.
some
So
big
I like
tears,
the
some
analogy.
And, actually, 80% of roles are secured now, not through sending out your resume into the ether, but really through personal
Be
and
talking about
professional
that.
connection. So
Yeah.
networking is queen. I
Yes.
was almost going to say king.
I love the
but
queen.
networking is
Empress.
So
yes, it is everything. And so women become more comfortable with it once they start in that inner circle, which we give them in the
start where you're comfortable.
And then they build out, and then they realize that that's where the most fruitful connections lie. It's really in that outermost ring.
I love it.
And a really important thing to remember when you're networking, if you're feeling like it's like you're always asking, you know what? We already have established that we are all awesome and have a lot of value to contribute.
Yes.
So if you're not out there meeting new people, you're not sharing and helping those people. And if you're looking for someone to like maybe, tell you about their career and you're not asking them, then you're denying them that opportunity to shine and to help you.
I love it. I love it. Nice job. That is great.
Welcome back. We are excited to continue this conversation. And what I really like is that your mission it speaks to women at all phases of their life, but it actually speaks to all people. Because reinvention is just a mindset shift away. And overcoming that fear of standing out, getting a network to support you, looking at your accomplishments through a new lens. These are all invaluable tools that people can use to really see the opportunities that are available. And it all seems to start with a mind shift.
Yeah, and one really important mindset shift that goes along with all of that is having a real growth mindset. Like, so not just deciding that whatever skills you have and whatever knowledge you have is stuck and innate, but that at any age or stage or whenever honestly you feel like it, you can learn something new and you can grow and change.
Yeah, and that what you said is so important about mindset connected to seeing new possibilities for yourself, right? Because, when you take control of your own story, and we'll talk about that later, you can open up new worlds. You don't have to stay in the same lane. You don't have to follow the linear path. And so many women come to us feeling like they don't have any possibilities. And it's eye-opening when they start to consider, well, I could do this and I can do that, and maybe I can even do this. And we have a whole process to help them sift through those different ideas and then, start trying them on.
It's so exhilarating to realize that the possibilities are infinite. And just because things have always been this way doesn't mean they can't be completely different. And that's what you're seeing a lot. You're seeing women who are actually pivoting towards their passions and finding entirely new opportunities that they may have never even considered before.
Yeah, and some of them are creating whole new portfolios, like a portfolio approach to their work. So when you were talking, it was reminding me of this woman we worked with who was in finance, and she was thinking about, kind of her next chapter, and she needed to be financially stable. So she stayed in her financial role, but then on the side, her passion were animals, and she wanted to do dog training. So she created her small business on the side that was all about setting herself up for the next chapter when she left the finance world. But she did not want to put that aside. She saw there were so many possibilities open to her. Why not do both? Why not try and do both? And nurture those both sides of herself.
Right. Getting away from those self-limiting beliefs that hold us back and keep us stuck, and empowering ourselves, filling ourselves up with all that stuff that feels so good instead of that stuff that doesn't feel good. So it's we're realigning our energies, and you are really helping people to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about your secret sauce. And we love our secret sauce because that's a key part of each one of the episodes here at Better Than Gossip.
So our secret sauce is that you can take back control Only you own your story. You're not defined by a title or a role or anything you've done in the past or any limitation you're putting yourself on the future. It's your story. You get to write it. You get to tell it how you want to tell it.
Yeah, I mean, your story is your calling card for your next chapter, right? So if you can get control of your story, you can go so far. You can really soar. And don't leave it up to other people to decide, oh, you know, she took a break or she took a career pause, like she's not qualified for X, Y, and Z. You want to make it easy for people to see your value and your worth. Right?
Connect the dots for them.
Connect the dots for them. Don't let them fill in the blanks, right? Like you want to control your story. And you can do it.
And you ladies help.
We do.
You can do it. You can get some wonderful free tools on your
Absolutely.
website, right?
Yeah, so we've been talking about mindset shifts, and we have a great free download for you. It's called 6 Mindset Traps that sabotage career reinvention. So take a look at that and use that to propel yourself forward.
And it's wonderful that these are free tools anybody can use. So for people who are feeling inspired, and right now they're just like, okay, I need to do something right now. I love that you've got something that they can jump right into. So thank you so much. This has been another great episode of Better Than Gossip.
Thanks again, Kristen,
Thanks
for
so
having
much,
us.
Kristen. This is great.